In this presentation, I will be demonstrating how to add an alarm to the FX supervisor using an Internet Explorer connection. Now, I'm connected to a station. The station is called Office Demo, and I'm using a navigation connection, not the nav. All right, so I'm connected with navigation, and I open this up, and you can see I have a BACnet network. And under there, I can open it. You see I have controllers. One is called Home Zones. I'll open that up, double click on the points, and all the points that are in that controller will come up. Now, if I click over here, I can go to the Point Extension Manager. Now, in the Point Extension Manager, I have a column called Alarm. And here's the basement temp. I can click on Alarm, and since it's a sensor, I can do an out-of-range alarm. All right, so now I've added an out-of-range alarm, and I click Save. So now there is an alarm extension on that point. Now I can go to the point property sheet and then open up the basement temperature and show you that indeed I have an alarm extension. Now I can also add an alarm extension by adding from a palette. So I can click on the bar, hit the palette, then select the alarm modules, and then under extensions there's an out of range alarm, and I can drag that and drop it on the main temp. All right, now I can go ahead and open up the alarm sources. Now as I open up the alarm sources, you can see that that basement temperature is 71.8. There's an alarm inhibit feature, so I can inhibit the alarm for a period of time. I can do a time delay before it sends the alarm, so let's just say 10 seconds. So I won't send the alarm for 10 seconds. There's also a delay when it goes back to normal. All right, so now I can keep going down, and here's the name. When you add it with the appliance, I add it with a bunch of wildcards. The wildcards will name the alarm, the name of the controller, home zones, and the name of the point, which is basement temp. So it'll be home zones / basement temp. That will be your alarm. All right, so we can leave that there, or we can type in our own English name. If I type an English name, I cannot duplicate the alarms for another point. So if I call one basement temp, I would have to call the other one a different basement temp, basement rec room, something of that nature. All right, so the next step would be to go down and look at the fault algorithms. Now I can alarm in the to off normal or the to fault. So let's look at what the fault does. Now the temperature is 71.9. So let's go ahead and add a high limit of 70, and I can enable a high limit fault alarm. I can hit save. Now, if I wait the 10 seconds, you can see that that point went into fault. All right, so now I have a fault on that point. Now, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and set the fault up to be at 100 degrees and the low fault alarm to be at 0. So I will enable a low limit and a high limit. So I could say basement temp in fault, and that'll come up on my screen. And then I could also make the same one, basement temp in fault. All right, so now I have a fault alarm of 0 and 100 on that sensor. Kind of indicates that the sensor's going bad if it starts reading 100. Now, if I go to the off normal algorithm, let's take a look at here. And I'm going to set this one again at 70, and then I'm going to enable that high alarm, and I'm going to click Save. Now I will go over and hit points, and you can see that I don't have an alarm yet, but I'll have to wait my 10 seconds. And now the alarm went in fault. All right, so I can go back to that controller and change that fault value to maybe something a little more reliable. Maybe I think that I want to alarm if the space temperature gets above 85 and let's say 55 on a low. And I can put some text in here and I can say basement temperature and high alarm, and I can say whatever I want on the lower one. All right, now I can go ahead and save that. Okay, so now I've set up my alarms and I've added alarms to the network. This has been a presentation of creating an alarms in an FX supervisor using an Internet Explorer connection.